The Lord say be still. And anytime I'm ready, you make on the grill. Dream weekend of souls they fulfill. This thing me ready, just fess me ready like Galat. Anytime I step out, stop with the word so the man get kicked out. Oof, Satan head in our van side. Elbow rapist, just the bell go on inside. Galat. Anytime I step out, stop with the word so the man get kicked out. Oof, Satan head in our van side.
The next generation of gospel music, where you find the flavor of God. 963 IMG is a community listener-supported station dedicated to excellence in gospel music. We consider this station as the platform of the Creator, the beacon of light for those that are tired of living a sinful life, and the detox center for a life gone wrong. This station may not be for the converted. Our core is based on Scripture, Matthew 4:19, and He saith unto them, Follow me, and I will make you fishers of men. 963 IMG caters to the unsaved, the unreachable, and them that are presumed lost from Christ. Our vision is to show that God has flavor, and the kingdom of heaven is not boring. Tune in for your daily source of inspiration and positive music. 963 IMG believes that the human mind is susceptible to what it's exposed to. What you put in is what you get out. We provide you with your daily dose of anointed, alternative, infused music along with motivational and inspirational speech. 963 IMG is a network of 30 affiliated stations with active listeners on 3 continents and several islands, and growing. We all welcome you where you get praise, worship, and adoration without the division. 963 IMG.
Many see the glory, but they don't know our story. They don't know, no. Hey, this is your gospel minister, Rosie B., and I'm listening to 963.
Say cool. You see that story of hate we've been writing for years. Oh, we can change it. We can change it. You see that hurt, that pain we've been holding so long. Love can heal it. Only love can change it. Introduction, slavery the system. I planned the fields, they raped the women. Fighting for my freedom, labeled the villain. Just to keep me down, so they brought you in. Treat you like an outcast, paid you pennies. Divide and conquer, we made enemies. Cascading candles, a little too many. We need new writers, tell me, is there any?
Change the story. Change the story.
Change it if we like it.
Change the story.
If you or die,
Change the story.
the future is ours, yeah.
Last night me go feel look a bread. This morning them find me dead. That's the way life goes. That's the way the story goes. Yesterday the village full of joy. Today all the hard man a cry. That's the way life should go. My generation shouting no. Cause if me dead, it must be because you hate me. And that seems to be the narrative lately. So far and I'm gonna take my life cause you didn't make me. We have to stop make the headlines fake we. So I'm handing you the pen, but before you write, make sure your heart right tonight. Not another second, not a minute, not an hour. We're running out of time.
Change the story.
I believe that we can change.
Change the story.
Oh, we can make it what we have.
Change the story.
This is who I
I don't know if you can hear me, but I can't hear you.
Change the story.
When the reaction has a reaction, revenge and they take contraction. Ethnicity remains a distraction. Needs to be a whole, but we broken like a fraction. Now we at a junction, so tell me now we are a function. Whoa.
963 IMG, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're listening to us from. I am indeed. Well, today I'm not St. Patrick. Today. Okay, hold on. Let's work it out. I'm going to send. Oops. All right, so we're having a little bit of technical difficulties. Folks are coming in as we get started. Brother Alex, can you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, beautiful, beautiful. So we got one person already in, and let me see if I could coordinate with the next and get the next person in. And we're going to have a great show today. I could already feel the energy because, yep, we have a great topic. We have something very important. If you're a homeowner in New York City, then you know this is all indeed about you. New York City homeowners, All right, New York City homeowners has been going through a lot. The system seems to be rigged against you. And, you know, it's about time. It's full time. I believe it is indeed full time that we unite our voices and have something to say about the matter, because, you know, we are not being heard. All right. New York City homeowners, especially the small homeowners, are not being heard. And we're being squeezed by the big corp, by the, you know, we seem like we're in between a rock and a hard place. And why do I say that? The tenants is against us. The system is indeed against them. So, you know, they want to, you know, this is one of those days we want to come out and have a voice, unite, and just to get some of the story as to what's going on. So with that being said, you know, let me see how we're going to do this. With that being said, I have a few homeowners lined up that's going to come on and tell their story, tell what they have been through. What is it that they're dealing with in the tenant-landlord landscape, you know, in the arena of being a homeowner? What's really going on? What is it that they're going through and dealing with? And we're going to bring that to you right here today, so this way the voices can actually be heard. We have one of the New York City homeowner that I actually have the opportunity to meet and dealt with in the past, and I want to bring him on to have a conversation with us as to what he has been dealing with tenants in New York City. So for those of you who don't really understand what's going on, right? Here it is. New York City. Okay, click the link. I don't see you. All right, someone else is trying to get in, but I don't see the link for them to come in. All right, New York City, just within 2019, changed the rules to protect New York City tenants, and you would think this would be a great thing. But it is actually it's hurting the small landlord. And when I say small landlord, residential homeowners with one or two family homes are actually getting, one and two families are actually getting squeezed out of the market. They're actually getting squeezed out to the point wherein they just can't seem to catch a break. It's pretty much it's almost as if tenants have more rights in New York than the homeowner themselves. So while I'm talking, let me just bring Brother Alexander. Are you there?
Yeah, can you hear me?
I could hear you loud and clear, sir. Welcome to United Voice, a show dedicated to homeowners small homeowners in New York City. For you guys to have a voice to speak out. How are you today?
I'm okay. And you?
I'm blessed. I'm happy to be of service to you guys and to be in this space to just let your voice be heard. Let me just start off by asking, Are you a big landlord in New York City? Do you have multiple homes in New York City? 50-unit buildings? Talk to me. What you got going on?
Small 2-family, 1-3-family. That's about it. Small
A
homeowner.
small 2-family and 1 3-family unit. So you by all estimate or by all means of the matter, you are not a mogul. You're not a big landlord doing big things.
No.
Would you
Just a
consider
simple
yourself a
landlord.
slumlord?
No.
No. All right. So then, with that, tell us what is it you're dealing with?
Well, we had a tenant, like you mentioned before, 2019. COVID hit. Laws would change. Tenant happened to today's end, happened to stay in there a little over 3 years, and ended up owing $65,000 and walking away.
Whoa!
tenant,
Wow! Ouch! $65,000
Yeah. Walking away.
and walked away with it.
Yeah. According to the courts, it could have been in there longer.
Wow! So you had to bargain just to get rid of them at 65. Else they would have been in there much longer if they so desired.
Correct.
Wow. Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. That's the reason why we're having this conversation here. And I see someone else just popped up on the screen. Brother Aldi, hello to you, sir.
Hello, how are you? My name is Aldi.
Hi, Aldi. How are you today?
Fine, thank you. I'm here in my small business today. I'm working, but I just so outrageous with what is happening with the small landlords that I have to take the time to share my story and express myself.
All right. So I'm going to have you share your story because, Brother Alexander just dropped right off the back, dropped a big bomb on us. $65,000 his tenant walked away owing after being there 3 years without paying rent.
Yes, for me, my debt is even worse than that. It's like about 90,000.
What?
After 4 years, and on top of that, they still living here. I'm still not able to evict them.
Wait, your tenant is in your property for 4 years, have not paid any rent, owing over 90, how much?
90,000.
$90,000.
Without the damages that they include to my property.
And that does not include damages to your property. Oh my God. Oh my God. And what is the city doing on your behalf here? Brother Alex, if you're there, just if you speak, it'll come right up. Did the city do anything to advocate on your behalf?
No, what the city did is gave me 50 violations from the HPD because they call my tenants, they call the city, and the city came, they let them in, right now I had 50 violations. Most of them are produced by the same tenants. They broke their windows, they throw garbage all over the place. So now I have roaches, mice, and the city came and gave me all those violations for roaches, for mice, for all type of damages that the same tenants did in the property.
Wow. Let me ask, before we even go any further, how many units does your building have?
I just have a 2-family house, as you can see behind me. I don't know if you can see it. I have it's 1 floor is where the tenants are. I live in the other unit, and then below is that small business that I have.
Okay, so in New York City, that would be considered a mixed-use building.
That's correct, yes.
Okay. So now with a mixed-use building, you are not rent controlled, you are not rent stabilized.
Yeah, I'm not. But still, they treat me like if I was like a big corporation. I'm not entitled to have a free lawyer. I have to pay it out of my pocket. But then my tenants, they have like 2 lawyers.
Wow. So for those who are listening, for those who are watching, this is the landscape in New York City. In case you don't know, tenants, the minute the tenants get to court, they will give them a free legal representation, wherein you, the small landlord, if you need to defend yourself, you have to do it and pay for it out of your own pocket. So if you're a landlord, this is, let's call it rule number one. Okay, so we're going to be giving you a lot of rules here today. A lot of lessons is going to be given out today. So lesson number one, do not expect New York tenant landlord court system to advocate on your behalf. Will not happen. This is a tenant-friendly state, and it is indeed a tenant-friendly court system that will not advocate on your behalf. So all the things that you think you know, being a homeowner in the city, and you pay your taxes and they should take care of you and they're going to work on your behalf, that is indeed not so. All right, so that's rule number one. All right, so let me mute you, brother Alex. I want brother I'm sorry, brother Alex. Thank you so much. Don't leave. We still have other questions, but brother Owen.
I apologize for the noise. I just New York City.
So, yeah. So mute yourself. Mute your phone, because I see you're outside. And Alexander, let me come back to you. Alexander, are you there?
Yes. Yeah.
All right. Beautiful. So, I thought your case at 60. You said 65,000, right?
65,000. That's not including.
I gotta write that down because there's a debt toll, a deadbeat tenant toll that I'm gonna be putting up. I thought your $65,000 was bad. I thought so too. Aldi still have his tenant in his house, and I'll find out why in a few. Still have his tenant in his house 4 years, no rent. I mean, he might as well. Aldi, could you adapt them and have them be your kids and then write them off on taxes? Because $90,000 seems unfair to me. It seems unfair. Alexander, yes. What was the nature of your case?
Well, my case, like I mentioned before, 65,000. If you look at the damages that we assessed, the tenant finally left, better off than Brother Aldi. But you're looking at $10,000, $15,000 in damages as well. And that's if you probably do the work yourself, most of it yourself. So they walked away. Not only did they walk away with 65,000, you look at the debt, and of course all the gas and water you had to supply during COVID. The city just, instead of accepting the debt, I believe that the city just passed the debt on to the small landlords, which is who took the brunt of. We really saved the city in a sense during COVID.
Wow. So I have no words. Shouldn't the city be advocating for homeowners like yourself and making sure? Why weren't you able to get the money, the back rent that the tenant owes?
Well, you go to court and that's the deal. They leave, they walk away with 65,000. If you want the property, we made an agreement with a certain amount of time, and the tenant threatened not to even leave. I was surprised they left. So it's a sad situation with tenants, like you advocated, like you said, they have the rights and you have none. As a small landlord, you accept the liability and you see the rents are going sky high. Let's just say we wonder why. Why would I rent to a tenant in New York City without any type of security? A lot of landlords are choosing, I believe, not to rent.
If you had an opportunity to change the laws here in New York City, what changes would you implement for small homeowners?
Well, I would require the state. I think the state and the city itself every tenant should have an insurance policy. We understand that people do fall on hard times. You do lose your job. You do go through trials and tribulations in life. That's acceptable. But there should be a amicable, agreement that every tenant in New York City should have, and I'm not talking about $1 million insurance policy, just a fund that created by the city or the the city or the state for this particular, exactly what happened during COVID, that everybody would contribute to the fund, every tenant, and when you fall on hard times, at least the landlord would get something, and the landlords themselves could advocate, just like you have full coverage for your vehicle. You could advocate to take an additional policy out to cover yourself.
You have to have insurance for your house. You have to have insurance, in case a flood or something happens or a fire.
Correct.
I believe tenants should have some form of insurance too. That's something that's in the works, ladies and gentlemen. I am totally on board with that one right there. I want to show Aldi. You still there?
Yes, sir. I'm still here.
All right. What is it that, after 4 years, how many times have you gone in front of the judge?
Okay, I've been fighting for this case for about the first 2 years. The biggest mistake I made, and this probably can help other small tenants, is that I tried to do everything on my own. I was having a hard financial hardship, so I decided to do everything on my own, and I believe that was the biggest mistake because I waste my time. The judge told me after 2 years that if I don't have a lawyer, I wouldn't win the case. So this time I hired a lawyer, but still a struggle financially, and I believe that the way New York is treating the small landlords is like it's becoming like a communist state. They forcing us to house these people against our will and without compensation.
Wow.
It's insane. It's insane what they're doing.
I feel that they gave PPP loans to businesses and then forgave it. Okay. Well, what about small landlords? What did you get? Whatever programs they had was required based upon the tenant agreeing to it, which was the biggest mistake. They should have given landlords loans, just like PPP. Just sign up for it because you know where to find me. I have a property. You know where to find me.
Right.
So why wasn't the same thing done for small landlords?
Agreed. I am, for the first time, I'm somewhat speechless, here because I'm looking at $155,000 worth of debt that's on the table that New York City sat back and allowed to happen to its landlords. And here is what my belief here is, because New York City put in the Tenant Protection Act in 2019, which protect tenants from being illegally or maliciously evicted from the property. But what the intent of these new laws, it is actually empowering bad tenants to be worse. Not good tenants, but bad tenants to be worse. Wherein good tenants that's doing their due diligence, I have seen, and what you will see, what I bring here on this show, you will see tenants having jobs even during COVID, nurses having jobs even during COVID, went and buy a Mercedes Benz. Yup, you heard me. And not pay the rent. And if I'm not mistaken, Alex, did not your tenant try to make a deal with you to give them half the money from the PPP, from the ERAP?
Yep, that's exactly. She would not sign unless I would pay.
She tried to stick you up. She would not sign the ERAP papers unless you gave her half the ERAP money.
Correct. Unless you gave her some, she would not sign. So they created a monster out of the tenants, and they believed they had every right. They said, Cuomo said, I don't have to pay. That's what she said. Cuomo said, I don't have to pay.
Wow.
Even though they have.
Yeah. Wow. I'm going to show a video. And I don't know if you guys, I know you, it seems as if you're in your car. Alex, I see Aldi is still working on the job, but if you guys log on to Facebook or onto YouTube, I'm going to show a video of here of something that just recently happened right here in New York City. Not just New York, but what is going across the state and other states in the, that's in implementing these laws against small landlords. Because at the end of the day, during the moratorium, I'm going to believe that there was no moratorium on you paying your mortgage, was it?
Nope.
No moratorium on paying the mortgage. You still had to come up with the mortgage.
The taxes, the water bill, the light bill.
Wow.
There was nothing on that.
Wow. Indeed. And, with that being said, your tenant went about, living for free, running up the light, running up the gas. Wait, is anyone paying were you paying the light bill for the tenant or the gas bill? Or was it just the heat? You was paying the gas
bill.
The gas and the heat. Wow. Yep. And Aldi, how is your water bill? Let me ask that, with the tenants still living in your house.
Yeah, my water bill is like, I need to ask for help because I just paid my gas bill was $900 for my tenants, and because I made a mistake. I was renting like the whole unit, and I was paying all the utilities. Mm-hmm. So right now it's like there's no way, and I spoke to the judge that I told her that I don't have money to pay because they sometimes even leave their AC on during the whole day, and electric bill, gas bill, everything is crazy. And she told me that like if I don't provide with these utilities, I can get in trouble and they can sue me. So I still have to pay for their utilities as well. I made a mistake when I rent. I will never rent again in my life. After I finish with this, I will just sell my house and leave New York City. I believe New York City, it's not a honest place. It's not equality. It has to be equal for tenants and landlords. This is a business like any other business. It's not a right like many people want to believe that this is a right. It's not a right. It's a business. We have to pay our mortgage. How are we going to pay our mortgage if the tenants are not paying? It's impossible.
Wow. Indeed. I want you guys I'm going to show this video, and I'm at the same time show our sponsor tonight is NYSEP, New York City Evictions Plus. They're the ones that's sponsoring this particular show. And, they're all about, helping New Yorkers protect their American dream. I know you guys come to this country and do your best to to get your property.
Kristen, a landlord in West Holmes.
Before it goes any further, you do your best to get your property, and you try to live that American dream that is there, of home ownership. And it seems as if the whole entire system is rigged against you. Your tenants is empowered to live in your house, ladies and gentlemen. $90,000, $65,000 without paying rent. What is a landlord to do? Well, I'm going to show you what some landlord attempted to do and what was the outcome. All right, check this out.
Kristen, a landlord in West Homestead is dead. His tenant's been arrested following a deadly encounter last night. The tenant's accused of hitting the landlord in the head with an axe handle. Ralph Ianotti's live tonight with more on this one. Ralph.
Yeah, thanks very much, Paul. A real tragedy earlier today in West Homestead. Police say 57-year-old Dominic Anicola is in jail here tonight, charged with criminal homicide. According to investigators, he got into a violent confrontation with his landlord, and it ended up with the elderly landlord's death. Dominic Anicola lived in a second-floor apartment here in this home at 321 West 7th Avenue in the borough of West Homestead, where Walter Smith was renting out an upstairs room. He was taken into custody by police early this morning after he admitted fighting with Smith. A criminal complaint states that the two men got into a fight, and Anicola admitted he hit Smith in the face and struck him with his stick, which police described as a 3-foot axe handle. Anicola said the two men fell over the railing onto the ground floor about 5 feet below. A witness told police he heard Smith yelling, "Please don't do this, please don't do this." The witness said he heard Anicola shout, "I'm going to hurt you." Then he heard a loud thud, which was the sound of Smith falling from the second floor. Now, according to these court documents, the suspect told police that his landlord was in the process of evicting him, and he and Smith had a history of confrontations. We're live tonight outside the Allegheny County Jail. I'm Ralph Iannotti, KDKA TV News.
Breaking news, an argument involving a landlord turns deadly in Connecticut, who's now under arrest. That's where we start tonight at 6. Thanks for joining us. I'm Natalie Pascarella.
And I'm Chuck Scarborough. Police in Norwalk, Connecticut tell us an argument between a landlord and a tenant ended up with a man dead and a woman charged with his murder. It happened on Nelson Avenue this afternoon. News 4's Adam Harding live tonight in Norwalk with what we're learning about this investigation, Adam.
And neighbors tonight, Natalie and Chuck, confirming to us that they had heard that there were some disputes between this landlord and tenant. That landlord, very well known in this Norwalk community. Behind us here on Nelson Avenue, you can still see the large police presence here. The yellow crime scene tape is up. This is the home, 16 Nelson Avenue, where investigators say they found 54-year-old Kurt Lametta shot and dead. Ellen Wink is the person now arrested facing a murder charge, and police say she happens to live next door. She is the landlord now facing that murder charge. Just a few hours ago, they say they found the victim here on Nelson Avenue, that 54-year-old, suffering from multiple gunshot wounds. According to neighbors, Wink is well known in this community. She even had hopes not long ago of running for elected office. They say they knew she had an issue with her tenant here on Nelson Ave, but they never expected this.
Yes, she walks the dog every day. She walks up and down the street with her dog. Very pleasant lady to me. Absolutely surprised. She lent me her lawnmower in the early days as we were doing renovations to cut the lawn here. She even offered to come and cut the lawn for us.
And as I mentioned, Wink, very well known in this community. In fact, a number of people, when we approached them to get their reaction to the day's development, she is quite well known throughout this community. Tonight, she is being held on a $1 million bond. But what exactly happened in the home behind us that led to this deadly shooting so far, investigators have not yet revealed. That's the very latest live tonight in Norwalk, Connecticut. I'm Adam Harding, News 4 New York.
Adam, thank you.
We are hearing from heartbroken neighbors who knew the family as we learn more about the suspect under arrest.
CBS 2's Jessica Layton live in Corona with the story.
So I got one more that I have to show, but this is the faith of, homeowners, especially young, small residential homeowners that desire to just a little bit of fairness, just to have the scale balanced and not to be taken advantage of by their tenants. If you live, regardless of whether the conditions of the property, and I know this is going to sound a bit weird, but if the conditions of the property is proven to be atrocious, then it must be dealt with, fixed. But once it's fixed, then you should pay the rent that is owed. Okay, I truly believe that. But let me just, this is a brother in Corona. I want to show this last clip, this last newsreel. This was last year, as a matter of fact. I want to show this one, and then we'll have a conversation on these three videos.
Tonight, Jessica?
Christina Maurice, by all accounts from his friends here on 102nd Street, this victim was a gentleman, friends with everyone he met, and above all else, a family man. We are told that he lost his life yesterday after he was pushed down this flight of stairs at his very home, and it was all caught on his own Ring video. That's what captured this deadly encounter. The video starts by showing Edward Moncayo standing on the stoop. As the door opens, he begins arguing with the tenant, apparently over a late rent payment. We're told Alex Garces had just moved in a month ago and was already behind. Now the tenant pushes Moncayo, and Moncayo falls down 8 brick stairs. We have frozen the video before that fatal fall and before his head hits the sidewalk, because this is all so traumatic for anyone who sees it. The tenant then comes down the stairs. It appears he checks on the victim and then has that reaction, knowing something terrible has happened. And the reaction here in the neighborhood is sickened, heartbroken, especially by those who knew him so well. Friends say he's from Ecuador. He has a wife, a son, a daughter, and several grandchildren. And his friends, who are realtors down the block, say he was just in looking for a new home for all of them. here tonight. The people are just absolutely stunned that this could happen and that it would all be caught on video. Alex Garces, that is the 23-year-old suspect, was brought in for questioning. He was arrested and he was charged with manslaughter. We're live in Corona, Queens tonight. Jessica Layton, CBS 2 News.
Wow. Wow. If that don't leave you speechless, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know what will. If you're a homeowner in New York City, taking matters into your own hands may not, well, I know for a fact is not the way to go. All right. Based on the 3 news clip that I just showed you, that's not the way to go. You get into a confrontation with your tenant. You kill your tenant wins because then you're taken away from your family and you're put in jail. You get into a confrontation with your tenant and your tenant kills you. Your tenant win because you're away from your loved ones and your family. So what is there for us to do? Brother Alexander, what is there for us to do?
Change the law. Organize.
Organize.
It's the best, organize, file a lawsuit. I believe people are on the path. Everybody's on the path. Put your monies together, and we have to change the laws. We have to change the representatives and the thinking that somehow they think landlords, I guess, not worth it and pick money up off the ground. Meanwhile, you spend your life savings trying to make better, make a way for your family and your children.
I was having a conversation with someone, and what came out of that conversation, a residential homeowner, is that, there is definitely more tenants than landlords, especially small residential homeowners here in New York City. And therefore, these politicians kind of, capitulate, gives in to the whims of small tenants, protecting tenants, passing laws, the Tenant Protection Act, so this way it increases their voting block. It increases the amount of people who is going to vote for them. And therefore, small homeowners such as yourself is put behind the 8 ball because it's not a lot of you. But ladies and gentlemen, I want to say this, if you are united with one voice, then you can make a punch. But if everyone is just running like, little cockroaches, every directions on every emotion, thinking that they all have to do it on their own, I don't think we're going to get that far. I don't think you will get that far. It's only when you come together. And I like what you just said, Alex, maybe it's time we start looking into putting a class action lawsuit against the city where all the homeowners come together, with the bills. Right now, this is just our first show. This is we just pushing out from the docks. We haven't even really fully put this show together yet. We just needed to do something because we hear the cry of the people. And so far, just this one show, we have $155,000 that New York City allowed through the court system, protected the tenants to go and live for free, move out. And I'm sure they're going to move to another landlord and do the same thing. Why not? If you could get away with it with Alex and with Aldi, why not go and try it somewhere else? Well, in Aldi's case, they're still there, like putting their legs up and like, hey, why should I do anything if I could live here for free? I get free light. I could run up the gas. I get free heat. All I have to do is pay for food. Damn, that's even my kids have to contribute some way. I'm just saying. It's crazy. Brother Aldi, are you still there?
Yes, still here. And on top, to add something to what you just said, they don't even clean anymore. I have to go there and clean the bathroom. I have to take their garbage. It's like I'm their servant. I have to do all this for free. And on top of that, I don't receive $1. One of them has a Cadillac, and the other person who lives there too, she bought an Uber van with the money that she saved from me. They're all working, making money, but they don't want to leave. I even offered them money, but they say not because they can save more by staying here.
Wow.
That's what they told me.
Wow. So there's no incentive for them to leave because they could save more money by staying there. And I'm sure by the time when they're done, they'll go out and buy their own house off your back.
I wish. I even told them myself that in these 3 years, they should have right now enough money to pay for their own house. But they say, why? Why am I going to get a mortgage if I can live for free? That's what they told me.
Well, if you could change the law, Brother Aldi, what changes would you implement?
I believe that we don't have to change the law. I believe the law is there. They just have to respect the law. The Constitution is there. It says with the people. You know, these judges, they work for us, and it's in the Constitution. What they do is unconstitutional because they're supposed to just enforce what is already there. The problem is that these judges, they just do whatever they want. Like, they don't follow the law. If they treat landlord tenant as a business the way it's supposed to be, like they do it in another states like Texas and Florida, we wouldn't have
Atlanta. Yeah. Mm-hmm. You know, in Atlanta, you could come home, you don't pay your rent. You come home, you could find your stuff on the sidewalk. You know, I got you. All right, we're gonna get ready to close it up. I'm going to give a little nugget here. There's, as we move forward with the show next week, the next one we'll be more, we're kind of elter-skelter today. We are going to tighten it up. We're going to have different section series and folks coming on, attorneys. We're going to invite attorneys to come on board and to give us some input and viewpoints in the law. We're going to help folks to get their situation resolved. This show is indeed sponsored by NYSEP. NYSEP is New York City Evictions Plus. They work for homeowners, small homeowners, not big corporation that's rent stabilized, but mom and pop homeowners. They do not work for tenants. They work to evict tenants and to provide the fastest, effective, cost-effective services possible for homeowners. And the reason for the Evictions Plus is because they don't just do evictions, they also do seminars, awareness seminars, because if you are aware, then you are empowered. And I see a lot of folks coming and saying, I want to do a 30-day notice to evict my tenant. And that's one of the changes. So here is nugget number one. All right. One of the changes to the tenant landlord courts, the Tenant Protection Act, is that there is no more 30-day notice. Or let me even clean that up a little bit better for you. If your tenant been living with you for less than 1 year, then you would then and have no lease. Okay, so less than 1 year and have no lease, then you can effectively give that tenant a 30-day notice. If you're renting a room and your tenant lives in your property and paying weekly, you give that tenant a 30-day notice. If your tenant has been living with you for 2 years and more, or up to 2 years, you have to give that tenant a 60-day notice. So if your tenant's been living with you for 2 years, you give that tenant a 60-day notice. If your tenant's been living with you for more than 3 years, then that tenant receives a 90-day notice. Ladies and gentlemen, this is all a stall tactic by the court system to keep the tenant in your property longer. So here is the deal. You have your tenant didn't pay rent the first month, didn't pay rent 2 months. You have a conversation with the tenant and you're like, you know what, I'm going to give them some time. They're nice people. They got a nice little kid that I like, this, that, and the third. So now here it is, 3 months. You didn't do anything. Didn't start the paperwork. You didn't do anything at all. 4 months came and you're like, well, I spoke to them. They said they're going to move and nothing happened. They're going to move next month. Nothing happened. So now you're 5 months in. You haven't received rent. So now you decide to go ahead and start the process. The fact that you gave them 5 months does not at all mean that you can go right ahead and get a court date. That's just what you did on your own. Court does not recognize that. You would then have to start the process by doing a 90-day notice. So remember, you gave them 5 months on your own, and now you have to give them 3 months through the 90-day process. That is now 8 months of not getting rent. Guess what? By the time you get to the point on the 9th month, after the 3 months, where is the camera? After the 3 months, okay, of the 90-day notice, on the 9th month, now you're 9 months in, you will then go to get a court date. Would you like to know something? Your court date will not be next week. Your court date will not be in 2 weeks. You will be lucky if you get your court date within 1 month. So now you are 10 months, probably 11 months in without getting rent. Now you get in front of the judge. Well, your court case came up. The date comes up. You're not even in front of the judge yet. Your case comes up. You go to court the first time and you run into your first brick wall. Either the tenant says, I need an attorney, or the courts turn around and tells your tenant that we are providing legal services to you. Mind you, you already 10 to 11 months in without getting rent. And instead of the court saying, oh my God, let me help you, the landlord who spent money to get the case into court, the court system turns to the tenant and say, no, forget about your landlord. Don't look at him. We are here to protect you. We are going to give you legal services to make sure that you're being evicted on the correct way, or if there's due cause for you to be evicted. Yeah. Smoke that in your pipe until next week, ladies and gentlemen. Let me give the floor to Aldi since you are here. Is there anything you want to say? Closing comments.
I just want to say that for me, I believe the best way we can solve this is, as Brother Alex says, with a Class 8 action, because the only way I believe is stick together. The only help we have is each other. So we have to stick together and be strong and bring a Class 8 action, active protest, came with creative ways. As I said, if we're gonna do the same thing, we have to be creative. We have to, use our imagination and try to protest in different ways. So we can, take the attention first of the media. That's another thing that I'm gonna point out is the media. They don't want to take our history. Like anytime I call them and I want to share my experience, they don't even pay any attention to us. So we have to take the attention of the media, stick together, and bring a Class 8 action. I believe that's the best option we have.
Indeed. Brother Alexander, closing comment.
I agree. We need to bring a class action lawsuit. It may be the only action. I think if we organize, we could act together as one, and I think that would make an impact. Whether it being raising rents, whether it being controlling different aspects of it, if we act together, we could get some action on this. And I thank you for your platform today.
Indeed, man, indeed. I want you to spread the word, let folks know that we are here. We will be posting these in every show on social media, so this way we could get the word out. And we are stronger together. I believe that homeowners, in this situation, if you come together as one, then you will indeed have some strength. Right now, there's no strength. There's no unity in your voice. So therefore, there's no reason for anyone to listen to what you have to say, no matter how much money you're losing. However, get some unified force behind you. And of course, this will indeed work in your favor. Let me see if I could go back to the video. There's another part of this clip that I want to show folks as to what what NYSIP has been doing in the community for small homeowners such as yourself. All right, let me see. Go back. There you go. So this just in, NYSIP has saved Jack. Oops, too fast. Come on back. Okay. So it says, meet some of our members in the NYSIP community that we have helped in the process of evicting their tenants and dealing. This gentleman, his tenant owed $44,800, and NYSIP was able not only to evict the tenant, but also recover the money that was owed. Okay, so that's something to look into. This young lady, let me see if I could, I believe she's the one. I can't really see it because it's a bit fine, but if I'm not mistaken, this was, oh yes, it says tenant owed $33,300, and she is a nurse and worked throughout the pandemic, turned around and buy a Mercedes Benz while living in the apartment and not paying rent. Wow. All right. This beautiful spirit ride says, NYSIP was there for me. Thank God for NYSIP, New York City Evictions Plus. New York City Eviction is a godsend. They evicted my tenant without her even have to go to court. So those are just some of the things that NYSIP has been doing in the community. You don't have to go to court. They also do rent collection. So in the case of the last video that you saw where Mr. Montero, the 71-year-old gentleman, went to collect the rent, and we all see, and, our condolence goes out to his family. We saw the faith that he went through. NYSIP will do rent collection services for you. And if the rent is not collected, start the process right away to get your tenants evicted without you having to go through the headache. All right. So that's what NYSIP do. They're the sponsors of today's show. I want to say thank you guys for coming in and for just sharing your story. Stay tuned next week as we will go and bring other stories to you that tenants are dealing with in this pandemic and this, traumatic climate. We will bring that to you. So again, peace and blessings. Thank you so much for coming, Brother Alexander, Brother Aldi, and sharing your story.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, na, 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 na,